So here's a really weird story. All right, so there's a very critical Iowa poll known as the Des Moines Register poll. The last DMR poll, and by the way, this is like the historic poll, okay, in terms of determining Iowa and also determining the rest of the race. But last time it came out, it actually had Bernie Sanders at number one. And again, this is a historic poll, okay? It's better than all the other polls. It's been more indicative. It has the history behind it. And so they were going to drop another one, basically. And this happens 2 days prior to the Iowa caucus. So it's massive. It's absolutely massive. And it got scrapped. It's really weird. So this is the first time in, I believe, like 72 or 78 years in which they scrapped it and didn't put it out. Apparently this is like a big event in and of itself. CNN canceled its 1 hour coverage of this and 1 hour show because it's so massive, of course. It says CNN and the Des Moines Register have scrapped the planned release of a key poll on Saturday, less than 2 days before the Iowa caucuses, after concerns that an apparent coding error left one of the leading contenders out of at least one survey. The media outlets decided to nix a planned live televised release of the survey after a supporter of former Mayor Pete Buttigieg received a call from the pollsters and Buttigieg's name was not one of the options offered. Source with knowledge of the decision and computer monitor at the call center used to conduct the poll was set to show font at a larger than normal text. That setting cut off the name of the last candidate listed in the randomized order testing potential Democratic candidates. In the case of at least one voter, the Buttigieg supporter, the randomized order placed Buttigieg last, and so Buttigieg's name was not mentioned. NYT first reported the network's decision to cancel the poll's release. The Des Moines Register said Saturday that the paper and CNN, along with pollster Ann Selzer, decided not to release the poll. Quote, "Nothing is more important to the Register and its polling partners than the integrity of the Iowa poll. Today, a respondent raised an issue with the way the survey was administered, which could have compromised the results of the poll. It appears a candidate's name was omitted in at least one interview in which the respondent was asked to name their preferred candidate." And so, it just seems like, okay, they're saying that Mayor Pete was left off, and so that's why they decided to take it out. It definitely seems kind of fishy and suspicious. Again, it's like the first time in 72 years that this has happened. There have certainly been races with a lot of candidates, especially I believe Bill Clinton's first race had a shit ton of candidates in it. So it just seems weird that this would happen now. And so I know it's a bit like, I know it's kind of irresponsible for me to do this in terms of ethically speaking, but my conspiracy theory, I have a sort of somewhat inkling towards maybe it was the case that Bernie was doing well and they wanted to scrap it because that would make him undefeatable in it. That momentum would completely destroy everything. And so I am going to say that I don't have any evidence for that. Obviously, the only thing is that there clearly has been an attempt by the DNC to rig the election against Bernie Sanders. Very obviously, what we're seeing there's a group of DNC members who are trying to get superdelegates back on the first ballot. Of course, they held secret meetings to try to recruit people to defeat Bernie Sanders in the election. Pete Buttigieg, who's also implicated in this, was part of those meetings. So all of the evidence dating back from 2016 obviously points to all of that kind of stuff. Okay. So, and we know Iowa polls have shown Bernie Sanders doing really, really well, especially the last DMR poll, he was doing really well. And so it just seems very fishy. Now, do I have evidence of this directly? No, I don't. I'm going to be upfront with that. So about that, I don't have evidence of that. This is just my inkling, and it's hard not to believe this simply for the fact of recent history. All right, what the DNC has been up to, their shenanigans now, their shenanigans in 2016. It's virtually impossible to do. And the DNC has a lot of fucking power, okay? They have a lot of power, especially over orgs like this. They have a lot of power in general in the race. And so it makes it very, very difficult to trust them, all right? So I don't know for sure, but that's the inkling that I get. I mean, I have to say, that's my conspiracy theory.